Welcome to Integrated Health Talk at 10, and we are out and about on our bicycles, and we decided to stop here in the middle of Columbus, quite literally, and talk about, Jessica was listening to some information by some healthcare professionals about the COVID-19 D variant. And so we thought we would just talk a little bit about that.
Can we talk about it?
That's all you.
Oh, well, I was listening to this podcast and my friend sent me, and they were, well, actually, two people sent it to me yesterday, so I thought, well, this is pretty interesting. One was a CT technician, does all the imaging. Her thought, her opinion, was like this is valid. So it says inflammation issue, not a lung issue, and it manifests in different people because anybody that works with COVID, any of the healthcare workers can tell you that everybody presents with totally different symptoms, and those symptoms change in the hours to the days. So she was talking about all the people that she was seeing in the image, and that it usually hit parts of their body where they already had pre-existing inflammation. So if they had COPD, it attacked the lungs, or if they had history of bronchitis or pneumonia, and that's where their pre-existing inflammation stayed, and that's where it attacked. But like for her, she got the COVID vaccine and it attacked her back. Her husband had arthritis and got COVID, actual COVID, and it inflamed all his joints, and he wasn't able to move his hands. So I'm like, you know what, I can bite on that. And when I thought back from all my experience with COVID, I could see that. And then somebody else sent me another podcast, not even an hour afterwards, from a pathologist. He was actually double degree, but he was practicing pathologist in Iowa. And he said we don't have a COVID season, we have a vitamin D deficiency season. So there was a specific what do you call it, longitude, latitude on the map. Anything above that, you really need to supplement with vitamin D because you don't get enough sun and specific rays of the sun. So northern states would never get, it's like you could run around in your bathing suit or naked in the middle of winter, you're still not going to get enough sunshine. So COVID would, if you have enough vitamin D, you can't have a cytokine storm. Most people that are dying were affected severely by the COVID is because of the cytokine storm, but it's not, you cannot have a cytokine storm as long as you have sufficient vitamin D levels in your body. So you should, I could totally bite on that. So, I mean, I guess if you followed the COVID and how the COVID came through, it kind of made sense, and I could see the pattern. So I guess my take on this is make sure you have sufficient vitamin D levels. We can test you. You can get tested, and make sure you eat healthy, get in natural sunlight, get outside, do something like ride your bike, walk. That's just good for socialization, mental health, and all kinds of things. But it also helps your body actually make the vitamin D. But a lot of people aren't ever going to make enough vitamin D because of where they're located at in the country.
So I agree with the cytokine storm. I mean, I actually agree with all of it. The cytokine storm is what causes the problem. That's why people who were on the ACE inhibitors were a little more at risk of dying from COVID. And so, because that inhibits the body's actual immune system, so the immune system, which is causing the cytokine storm and modulates the cytokine storm, is turned off, and thereby allowing the inflammation to go wild. Good morning, Kathy. Now, with that all being said, what are good sources of vitamin D? And so let's talk about foods for a minute. You can get vitamin D from liver. You can get vitamin D, of course, from the sun, and your body has to activate it. You can take supplemental vitamin D. I believe mushrooms, which are also immunomodulatory, are actually high in vitamin D. And so these are, between mushrooms, liver, animal products, especially organ meats, tend to be a little higher in vitamin D. She won't touch liver. I eat liver.
Well, vitamin D, everybody thinks that if we call it a vitamin, it's actually a hormone.
Hormone. Indeed.
So you need that.
And that's where, taking it from the practitioner side, you have to make sure that there are a few things going on in your body. One is, what is your cell health? So you can get a BIA done. It'll give you what is called your phase angle, and this starts to look at your cells and how healthy are your cells. Because if you're not healthy at a cellular level, you're just not healthy. You can't take things in and out of the cells. You can't transport stuff, and that causes big issues. So once you figure that out, then you get to start to go in and take care of your cells at that level, get the cell membranes built back up, and then you start to get healthy once again from the inside out. Kind of our little tagline, we help you get healthy from the inside out. But it's looking at you from the smallest particles. Then is the vitamin D getting into the cell? So the cell's healthy. Now is it getting into the cell? And that's where you got to kind of look when we do a LabCorp blood test on you. That tests how big your gas tank is. Do you have enough gas in this tank to run the system? Then we do a SpectraCell vitamin D test. And the SpectraCell test, yeah, we probably could have picked a better place to do this. The SpectraCell test tells us if you have the ability, or if the vitamin D has gotten into inside of the cells, where it actually has to be. And we can do those tests for you and interpret them and get you pointed in the right direction. Once again, we're here to educate and to point in the right direction to help you be healthy, because if you're immunoresilient, if you have the ability to modulate your immune system, then it's not if you get COVID, it's when you get COVID. It's highly contagious. It's going to happen.
It's also very, very weak.
Yeah.
And it can't live in the sun. That was another thing. It can't live in the sun. So nobody, like COVID can't live out here where we're at. The ultraviolet light destroys it almost immediately, they said. The only places that COVID actually spreads are indoors because of the poor air quality and lack of ventilation. So get outside.
Another reason to get a bike and get outside. Although not gonna kid around. We just went and looked at some really cool bikes. So we want you to be immunoresilient, because even if, let's say in a perfect world, you never get COVID. Okay, great. There's going to be some form of illness that will attack you, and you want to have the ability to fight that off. And that's what it's all about. And that's what we're here for, because we are such an unhealthy society and population. We've forgotten how to be healthy, quite frankly. And it's not hard, but it is a process to re-educate yourself. And healthy habits lead to healthy outcomes and healthy side effects. You know, somebody who eats well and somebody who eats right. Let's say eats right for themselves. And they get out and they do their exercise, they drink their water, they get 8 hours of sleep, 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep consistently. That person is going to be healthy and going to be immunoresilient. But the third shift worker, the person who's always stressed out, the person who never exercises, that person is not going to be immunoresilient. They are going to sit there and their body is never going to modulate. It's never going to go into rest and digest. It's never going to heal. Those are the things that you absolutely want to change, and you can't. You know, the human body is a piece of clay. You get to mold it how you want. What you think, how you act, what you do, that all affects how you mold that piece of clay. So, with that being said, we are Integrated Health of Indiana, and we're here to help you heal from the inside out. So if you have problems and you have questions, hit us up. We'll help you out as best we can.
some sunshine, guys. Get some vitamin D.
Get outside. It's just too nice right now.
Thank you for taking this time to look into the health of you and your loved ones. This broadcast does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. It is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a replacement or substitute for care. If you are having issues, please seek a qualified professional trained in functional medicine. We would be happy to be of assistance with both in-person and virtual consultations. Thank you.